and he gave him his bow and arrows, which were to be far famed in the young man's hands too at Troy. Then the flames rushed up, and Hercules was seen no more on earth. He was taken to heaven, where he was reconciled to Hera, and married her daughter, Hebe, and where, after his mighty labors, he has rest, his choicest prize, eternal peace, within the homes of blessedness. But it is not easy to imagine him contentedly enjoying rest and peace, or allowing the blessed gods to do so either. Chapter 12. Atalanta. Her story is told in full only by the late writers, Ovid and Apollodorus, but it is an old tale. One of the poems ascribed to Hesiod, but probably of a somewhat later date, say the early 7th century, describes the race and the golden apples, and the Iliad gives an account of the Caledonian boar hunt. I have followed in my account Apollodorus, who probably wrote in the 1st or 2nd century A.D. Ovid's tale is good only occasionally. He gives a charming picture of Atalanta among the hunters, which I have put into my account, but often, as in the description of the boar, he is so exaggerated he verges on the ridiculous. Apollodorus is not picturesque, but he is never absurd. Sometimes there are said to have been 2 heroines of that name. Certainly 2 men, Iasus and Schenius, are each called the father of Atalanta, but then it often happens in old stories that different names are given to unimportant persons. If there were 2 Atalantas, it is certainly remarkable that both wanted to sail on the Argo, both took part in the Caledonian boar hunt, both married a man who beat them in a foot race, and both were ultimately changed into lionesses. Since the story of each is practically the same as that of the other, it is simpler to take it for granted that there was only one. Indeed, it would seem passing the bounds of the probable, even in mythological stories, to suppose that there were 2 maidens living at the same time who loved adventure as much as the most dauntless hero, and who could outshoot and outrun and outwrestle, too, the men of one of the 2 great ages of heroism. Atalanta's father, whatever his name was, when a daughter and not a son was born to him, was, of course, bitterly disappointed. He decided that she was not worthy bringing up, and had the tiny creature left on a wild mountainside to die of cold and hunger. But, as so often happens in stories, animals proved kinder than humans. A she-bear took charge of her, nursed her, and kept her warm, and the baby grew up thus into an active, daring little girl. Kind hunters then found her and took her to live with them. She became, in the end, more than their equal in all the arduous feats of a hunter's life. Once, 2 centaurs, swifter and stronger by far than any mortal, caught sight of her when she was alone and pursued her. She did not run from them. That would have been folly. She stood still and fitted an arrow to her bow and shot. A second arrow followed. Both centaurs fell, mortally wounded. Then came the famous hunt of the Caledonian boar. This was a terrible creature sent to ravage the country of Caledon by Artemis in order to punish the king, Aeneas, because he forgot her when he was sacrificing the first fruits to the gods at the harvest time. The brute devastated the land, destroyed the cattle, killed the men who tried to kill it.